Peak Television is officially back on our screens with Severance Season 2 after a 3-year wait. Well, it was well worth it because here we are with Season 2 of Severance on Apple TV Plus, and honestly, just shout out Apple TV Plus. Probably the most underrated streaming service, but also probably the best one. And that's honestly not even a hot take. Most people that I've talked to that actually watch Apple TV Plus will agree it's probably one of the best, if not the best, streaming service out there because sure, they may not have quite as much content as, say, Netflix or Disney Plus or Max or something, but because of that, I'd say a solid 90 to 95% of the content they do actually put out is phenomenal. I mean, really, 3 of my favorite television series of all time are Apple TV Plus originals, including Severance, and of course, Shrinking and Ted Lasso as well. There's just some really, really great stuff on Apple TV Plus. And now here we have the continuation of Severance, which really just came out of nowhere back in, 2022, I think maybe? I actually didn't watch it when it first came out. I don't believe I didn't have Apple TV Plus at the time. I had gotten it on some sort of free trial at the beginning of that following year, and I automatically watched Ted Lasso. But then once I got done with that, I was like, oh, everybody was raving about this Severance show. I guess I could check it out. And I believe I did do a video about it on the channel here. And I remember it was a show that I was interested in the concept, but definitely it was a very slow burn for me. But I loved the characters and the small character moments. I mean, just the cast of this show is phenomenal, and that continues in season 2. But then you get to the end of the show, and it's just reveal, twist, cliffhanger ending, and now again, we had to wait 3 years to get this follow-up season, but here we are finally, and again, it is so worth the wait. We just dive right back into it, and it's so good. There's so many great moments in this first episode. It starts off not where I expected. Actually, the opening scene is great. I don't know how they did the camera movements that they did, but it was really well done. One of the things I really appreciate about this first episode, is something that it does really well, especially with one of the problems being that it was such a long wait in between seasons. We've been seeing that become more and more common with these bigger streaming shows. Hopefully there won't be as big of a wait between season 2 and 3, is that so much time has passed, we've just forgotten what happened. And obviously, we can watch recap videos and, some people will take the time to actually rewatch the show. But I think, especially because season 1, I felt was such a slow burn and I really didn't get into it until towards the end. Going back and watching recaps for the first season, really sort of opened my eyes a little bit. And then when certain elements were brought up in this episode, really got me thinking, because this is a show that has, first of all, it's just as a television show, it's great TV. It's a great drama thriller. But of course, it gets you thinking, because there's some great commentary here, obviously, about big corporations and government and that sort of thing. But one of the things it really got me thinking about with this episode, and really sort of just the whole concept of the whole innie versus outie thing, is, obviously we just recently had a big election here in the US, and one of the biggest topics of debate in that was abortion. And there's honestly, the whole Severance program is I almost kind of saw it as I don't know if it was intentional or not, but a sort of metaphor for that, because when you enter the Severance program, this innie version of you is born. Basically, you create a new life. And when we open this season, we find out that after the events of that season 1 finale, that most of our main characters, their outies, after finding out what they were going through on the inside, decided not to go back, and therefore basically ended the lives of those innies. Of course, they come back. This isn't spoilers, but it got me thinking back to in season 1 when, of course, Christopher Walken's character of Bert, it really didn't hit me until now, going back and looking at those moments where Irv, one of the things he was talking about, like, oh, you're just gonna let him die, because yes, Bert's character, he was retiring from his job, and therefore this innie, that person basically dies and has no choice about it. It's all in control of the outie. But again, the outie doesn't really know what's going on with the innie. It's a whole back and forth thing, but I thought that was just really, it really got me thinking about things. And then also, in season 2, kind of diving a bit into spoilers, I guess, here. If you haven't watched this first episode yet, which is just, again, a great way to jump back in, is we're introduced to these new perks of, oh, okay, Lumen they're listening to you now, and they're giving you all these perks and benefits and, like, trying to make it better for you on the inside. And one of the things is that now they are in control. So the innies, if they want to leave, they can. But again, that basically means they die. But Irv, because of what he saw on the outside, obviously Bert, he fell in love with him in season 1. On the inside, Bert retired, he's gone. He's only available on the outside now. But the outie version of Bert is married or has a husband or some significant other. And so basically, Irv sees that as, like, I have nothing to live for, basically. And so by leaving, it is sort of like a way of suicide, which I thought was a great talking point, and wanted to bring that up. We're also introduced to elements of, like, with Dylan's character, which I just love Dylan. He's so fun, so funny, so out of pocket. I was watching an interview of the cast talking about stuff, and they mentioned how Zach Cherry, who plays Dylan, a lot of the times doesn't know his lines, so he improvises a lot. And honestly, I think, like, it feels so natural, and he does feel the most out of pocket and most natural of the characters. And I guess that's why I think that's hilarious. Zach Cherry, he's great. I love him. But with Dylan's character here in this season, obviously we were introduced to last season that when he got that glimpse of his outie's life, he had a child. He had a wife. He had a whole entire family. And, I mean, it's bad enough as an innie to not have that. But then to know that your outside version of yourself does have that and you don't have access to it, like, how emotionally distressful that has to be. So now we're introducing this, at least these plans to build a part of Lumen where family of the outies can visit you, which the conversations that could strike up are also just so fascinating and so interesting to think about. And I really do hope we get to see that at some point here. There was some other great stuff in this episode. So many great moments. I love the stop motion video. There was sort of an homage to the Heat Miser from The Year Without a Santa Claus. That was great to see. I just love where this is going. This show is so good. So it makes you think about so many things. I love the mystery element. Like, I'm still really curious to see how much we'll find out, or if we do find out more about Lumen and the whole people behind it, and, like, what exactly is it that they do for work, all this stuff with data and getting rid of the scary numbers. What is that for? What do those numbers represent? I don't know, but I'm really interested in hopefully finding out whether it's in this season or next. But man, this first episode, we get off to a great start of Severance season 2. I also really enjoyed the drop time is that we got the 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time drop on Thursday night. I'm personally a big fan of the weekly release model as opposed to the binge. But I do prefer when it's a 9 p.m. drop rather than a 3 a.m. drop for me, because I'm not going to wake up early for that. And then it's just harder to avoid spoilers. And it just feels like more of an event of like watching it as soon as it drops at 9 p.m. You know, a lot of other people around the world are watching it at the same time as well. And especially this is like a nice nighttime show, I feel. Like, again, speaking of Apple TV Plus, Shrinking season 2 just ended a few weeks ago. That worked pretty well as like a morning show for me, that I'd wake up, watch that while I ate breakfast. It was great. It was upbeat. It was joyful. It was, well, mostly positive, sometimes super depressing, but like, God, phenomenal show. Severance, this feels like a good nighttime show. So I don't know for sure if they're going to continue that with future episodes, or if that was just for the premiere, but I'm hoping we get that 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time drop. If not, then it'll just be Friday mornings, midnight Pacific Standard Time, 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But anyways, guys, Severance, love this show. It's still phenomenal. I love it. So anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about Severance Season 2, our premiere for this second season? Long awaited. Was it worth the wait? Let me know all your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so you keep up to date on everything goes on in the movie life.